Two different people, living two very different lives, yet both met the same bloody end. Iryna Zarustaka, a mysterious death. Charlie Kirk, assassinated in public. Now the real question is, were these two cases just coincidence? Or part of something much bigger? Something we were never meant to see? New clues have surfaced. And once you hear the truth, you may never stay silent again. Imagine this. In today's America, every single day a new headline surfaces. An ordinary person suddenly commits a horrifying crime, and only later do we learn he was mentally disturbed. A recent survey reveals 18% of young people in the United States are struggling with some form of mental disturbance, and worldwide, that number has risen to nearly 1 billion people. We sent technology to the moon. We changed the world with AI, but still, we cannot control the darkness inside the human mind. So the question is tomorrow's most dangerous crime already breathing among us today? Donald Trump, Iryna Zarustaka, Charlie Kirk, attacked without warning. But why were their names chosen? And what force hides in the dark?
The killer hides in the shadows.
No matter where the criminal hides, our technology will uncover him. Will be revealed before your eyes. This is the reality others fear to show. Just stay with us, because the truth has no shelter. No one expected it. Not in Utah, not in North Carolina. Two different places. Two different stories. But connected by one chilling thread. Violence that no one saw coming. And questions that still haunt everyone today. So what do Charlie Kirk, a conservative, political figure nearly, assassinated in broad daylight, and Iryna Zarustaka, a young Ukrainian refugee brutally stabbed to death on a commuter train, have in common? That's what we're going to uncover. Because behind both cases there are secrets, strange clues, and the kind of unanswered questions that will make you wonder, was it really just random? Or is there something much darker tying it all together? Stay till the end, because once we lay out the evidence, you'll see why both these cases are keeping America on edge. It was supposed to be just another speaking event. Utah Valley University, Provo. Students gathered. Security was light. Only a handful of campus officers. No metal detectors, no drones. Nothing high-tech. But hiding above on a rooftop, someone had other plans. Tyler Robinson, 27 years old. A man with a troubled past. On that day, he carried a Mauser 30-06 bolt-action rifle wrapped in a towel. And according to prosecutors, he had a clear mission. Because minutes before, he texted his partner, "Look under the keyboard." Police later found a note under that keyboard. It read, "I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it." Now pause and think about this. Robinson wasn't just some random guy with a gun. He had written his intentions down. He wanted credit. He wanted the world to know exactly what he was about to do. And when the first shots rang out, chaos erupted. People scrambled, confused, not realizing a sniper was above them. But here's where it gets even stranger. Investigators later recovered the spent cartridges from the rooftop. But these weren't just normal shell casings. On some of them were engraved messages. One read, "If you read this, you are gay, LMO." Another, "Hey fascist, catch!" Why would a shooter engrave insults into bullets? Was it meant to taunt the victim? To distract investigators? Or was it some kind of inside joke only he understood? This single detail has puzzled everyone following the case. Because it doesn't fit the profile of a random attacker. It feels staged. Almost like performance. And here's the kicker. Robinson confessed to his partner while he was still on the run. He literally told her what he did before the police even had him. Which raises the question, was he mentally unstable or was he playing a bigger game? Let's rewind for a moment. How was it even possible for a man with a rifle to climb onto a rooftop, set up and take shots at a political figure, without being noticed? The answer is shocking. Utah Valley University had almost no proper security. No drones. No metal detectors. Only 6 police officers for the entire event. In other words, it was the perfect storm. A target out in the open with thousands of witnesses, and no way to stop a determined shooter. If you're wondering how something like this could happen in 2025, you're not alone. It has sparked outrage across the U.S. But before we connect this case to Iryna Zarustaka's, let me leave you with a question. Do you think this attack was just about Charlie Kirk? Or do you think Robinson was trying to send a much larger message? One that hasn't been fully understood yet? Just days before Charlie Kirk's attempted assassination, another crime shocked the country. Charlotte, North Carolina. A commuter train, Iryna Zarustaka, 23 years old, a refugee from Ukraine who had come to America for safety. She was sitting quietly, when out of nowhere, a man stabbed her 3 times in the back. The attack was sudden, brutal, and seemingly without warning. The killer? DeCarlos Brown Jr., a man with a long history of small crimes, arrests, and mental health issues. He wasn't supposed to be out, but he was, and because of that, Iryna lost her life. Her death didn't just spark grief. It sparked legislation. North Carolina lawmakers rushed to pass something called Iryna's Law. This law makes it harder for repeat offenders to get bail and pushes for more mandatory mental health evaluations before release. But here's the haunting part. Even with these reforms, many believe it's too little, too late, because it's not the first time a tragedy like this happened, and likely not the last. So why are we talking about Iryna Zarustaka and Charlie Kirk in the same story? On the surface, they're completely different. One was a public assassination attempt against a political figure. The other was a random act of violence on a train. But look closer, and you'll see chilling parallels. Both attackers had long criminal or psychological histories. Yet both were still free to act. Both crimes happened in public spaces where people expected safety. A train, a university. Both cases exposed major security and system failures. Weak bail laws. Weak event security. And both left behind more questions than answers. Here's what makes this story even more mysterious. Tyler Robinson, the man accused of shooting at Charlie Kirk, claimed mental health issues. Yet prosecutors insist he knew exactly what he was doing. DeCarlos Brown Jr., who murdered Iryna, had been in and out of jail, but the system let him slip through again. So the question is, are these crimes really just the work of unstable individuals? Or are they symptoms of something far bigger, a system that keeps failing to stop killers until it's too late? And that's why people online are asking, what's the connection? Because when 2 very different crimes share the same outcome, preventable deaths, security lapses, and shocking clues, it's hard to believe it's all just coincidence. In part 1, we uncovered chilling details. A political figure gunned down, a young woman brutally murdered, and threads that hinted these weren't random acts of madness. But what if the story doesn't end there? What if the shadows hide an even darker truth? One that's been buried in plain sight. As the investigations into Charlie Kirk's assassination and Iryna Zarustaka's murder continue, something unsettling is happening. Key evidence is being erased from public view. The shooter's online forums deleted. The surveillance notes in Brown's case barely mentioned in mainstream coverage. And here's the part that should make us all pause. Even court documents that referenced the Provo clean operation file are suddenly sealed. Why? If these were open and shut cases, why hide anything at all? Both killers, Robinson and Brown, were painted as mentally unstable, yet both left behind meticulous plans. Robinson's maps and escape routes, Brown's stalking patterns and victim's address. Coincidence? Or choreography? And then comes the detail almost no one is talking about. Both men had unexplained financial transactions in the weeks before their attacks. Not massive sums, but odd enough to raise suspicion. Robinson received deposits from accounts traced to shell companies. Brown withdrew cash he never explained. Where did that money come from? And why does no one in the mainstream press seem interested? Let's step back. Charlie Kirk's death silenced one of the most controversial voices in American politics. Love him or hate him, Kirk commanded attention, and his assassination instantly shifted national debate into chaos. Iryna's murder? It reignited polarizing debates over crime, safety, and immigration. Debates that conveniently stirred division at a fragile moment. One figure silenced, that one tragedy weaponized. Both events shaping national narratives in ways that benefit those who thrive. On fear and division, here's where curiosity explodes. Researchers digging into Robinson's online activity found IP addresses linked not just to random conspiracy forums, but to accounts connected with extremist propaganda networks. Meanwhile, in Brown's case, neighbors claim they saw him meeting with an unidentified man near Iryna's apartment block 2 nights before her murder. Police reports mention it once, then never again. Why was that lead dropped? And who was that man? The media keeps repeating the same script. 2 crazy men, 2 senseless crimes. But the deeper you look, the more it feels staged. Like pieces on a chessboard being moved by an unseen hand. Both killers with ignored red flags. Both cases sealed or sanitized in coverage. Both creating maximum public impact. Does that sound like chaos? Or coordination? Charlie Kirk and Iryna Zarustaka, 2 names that will forever be linked. Not because they knew each other, but because of how their deaths echo with unanswered questions.